Africa's premier sports video podcast, the Three Quarters Podcast. As usual, also remember to jump onto the hashtag 3QP to let us know what your sporting interests are and what you'd like to see on the show. I'm Demi Duffield.
And I'm Ngara Kamuya.
So on E.P.L,
yes,
match day 26.
Yeah.
So Fulham versus Man United, 3-0 to Man United. I don't think there's much of a surprise there.
True.
2 goals from Pogba, 1 from someone else.
Yeah.
Then we had Huddersfield versus Arsenal, 2-1 to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Then, the Huddersfield one was an own goal, so
yes,
I'm not counting. Well, anyway, Liverpool versus Bournemouth, 3-0 to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Tottenham versus Leicester City, 3-0 to Tottenham. And Man City, of course this is the game everybody is talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. Man City versus Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chelsea.
Yes. 6-0.
Yeah.
6-0.
That's the amount of disrespect that City are showing the other teams and the other top teams. I mean, Chelsea is a top team. 6-0. I don't know what happened to Chelsea. I don't know what happened to Chelsea on the day. It's unfortunate for them, but look, City are just showing how clinical they are, and they're taking their chances, and they're going for the jugular in the first 10 minutes. Because even in this game, just like in the Arsenal game, they scored in the first few minutes. So City showing their dominance, and they're looking like the likely, of course, Premier League winners in the 2018-2019 season. Spurs versus Leicester, 3-1 expected. Liverpool versus Bournemouth, 3-0 expected. Huddersfield versus Arsenal, not too impressed by Arsenal, but they got the 3 points. And of course, Fulham versus United. United continuing with their role.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still thinking about that 6-0. That's complete disrespect. That's being ruthless.
It is.
So you got to 4 and decided, nah, we can push it.
Yeah.
We can push it.
You can push a couple of more goals, and that's exactly what they did.
Anyway, so now we're talking about N.B.A.
Yeah.
And one that stood out for me before you say anything else that stood out for you is there's this little kerfuffle sort of. Magic Johnson was talking about the Pelicans and how they didn't act in good faith during the Anthony Davis trade.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you think about that and what else maybe stood out for you.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business of sports.
Yeah.
While they don't feel that they acted in good faith, I mean, I'm sure Pelicans and whoever are making their decisions, were making the decisions in the best interest of the franchise. But of course, that's a trade that has been talked about a lot because Anthony Davis had requested for a trade.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk about whether he's going about it well. And I remember watching an interview in which Kobe Bryant and Tracy McGrady were saying, look, franchises trade the players. Why can the players have the right to request for a trade if they want to leave? Because franchises also do that, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of and of course also the other issues, the number of players from LA Lakers side who were involved there. They talked about Lonzo Ball, they talked about Kyle Kuzma, they talked about Brandon Ingram. So there was a lot. The question now is, with it being clear that Lakers were willing to trade these guys, now how does Magic Johnson handle the dressing room? Guys are feeling, hey, look, these guys actually were willing to let me go.
Yeah.
But again, Magic is saying, look, why are you guys treating them like kids? They're not kids. They are professional athletes.
Yep.
And they know that's the business of the N.B.A. Yep. So look, it does happen. I mean, they are lucky. The other trade I want to talk about is Harrison Barnes. He's sitting on the bench against Charlotte Hornets, and mid-game he just gets the news that Dallas Mavericks have traded him to Sacramento Kings.
You're like, hold on.
He doesn't even know about it.
Yep.
Yeah, so everyone else knows about it before him. So again, it ties in with what we are saying about, sometimes you get the feeling that the owners really don't take into consideration some of these players.
Yeah.
Because, how would you handle that without letting him know before? And franchises have been notorious over the years for doing that. And the last trade, of course, I would like to talk about is Christian Porzingis to Dallas. He's been at the Knicks ever since he was drafted, and he's not really been comfortable at the Knicks. So he's been traded to Dallas. Let's see if he's able to do what many people have been saying he's able to do now that he goes to Dallas. It wasn't a good environment at New York.
Yep.
Let's hope now that with the environment that's at Dallas, we're able to see, or he's able to realize his potential.
Yep. Yeah. And just before we move on to the local rallying news, I totally agree with you. Like, how are you sitting on the bench? And I think I should, as a player, I should at least even if I don't get a say, like to where you know, just give me my options. Tell me, look, we're looking at this and this and this, and you know, because I need to understand. Yes, it is a business, but I mean, what if I didn't want to go?
Yes,
at all, like ever.
Unfortunately, it's
like you have to go.
If the team wants to trade you, they want to trade you. And that's why people are also saying, if the player wants to leave, then don't create fracas around it. Don't make it a big issue. He wants to leave. He wants to leave. Just the same way with a player. If the franchise wants to trade a player, they do it.
So it's a business both ways.
It's a business both ways. But like you're saying, at least notify me before. Hey, I cannot imagine just chilling like on the bench, and everyone knows, and you know the camera just gets onto you, and the law starts down there saying, you know, Harrison Barnes has been traded to Sacramento Kings, and he doesn't know. So
you're like, oh, okay.
At the very least, even the agent, just let the agent know.
You know, you can't all not know.
Yeah, it's not right. But look, it's not my place to say it.
Anyway, because boys love their toys, we're now talking about the local rally news.
Yes.
So you know, bad weather, you know, lack of a title sponsor, and funds, and you know, have a few sort of circuits not cancelled completely, but postponed. And you know, entry fee has been raised from like 12,000 to 15, and you know, not 15, sorry, 50 actually thousand. I mean, things like that are not helping the rally, but I'm hoping there's sort of a way forward.
There's actually, I mean, there's news in the last week or so that KCB have actually come back as a title sponsors, which is very good. Because if you remember, just when the WRC left, the World Rally Championship Safari Rally left the World Rally Championship in 2002. And shortly thereafter, KCB got on as the title sponsors, and they're the title sponsors for a long time. I think until I'd like to say maybe about 2013. But like sports in Kenya, there was a lot of mismanagement at the KMSF, Kenya Motorsports Federation. And the only thing that has kept the rally going is because, you know, the rally is predominantly Mzungu and Indian thing. Therefore, they can foot or they can cover their own cost. Or you see, if they raise the entrance fees, these guys can still be able to pay that amount. But KCB now have come back on board, and I think the reason is, I mean, with Phineas Kimathi coming in as the chairman of KMSF, he's been able, and him being a rally driver and having been in the days of WRC, he's been able to put in a lot of work. I mean, to the point where you have FIA President Jean Todt coming to Kenya and saying that, look, in 2019, the Safari Rally is going to be an invitation on the WRC calendar. So, of course, then government see, okay, it's been managed well. So they were given 100 million shillings. Then they've been given 100 million shillings. In KCB are like, hey, you know, WRC is back. We can give it, you know, title sponsor. They're expanding their brand worldwide. That's what I'm saying. So it boils down to management. That's what we keep on saying about the problem in Kenya. It boils down to management of the sports. And Phineas Kimathi has been doing a good job at the KMSF, and that is why we are seeing title sponsors coming back. We are seeing FIA being comfortable with the fact that Safari can get back onto WRC. We're seeing government bringing in money, amongst other things.
This reminds me of so many discussions that we have where we're always like, at the end of the day, you've just got to have money. Like if you want to get, you know, further along, if you want to be doing, but you've just got to have the money. You just have to have the money. So we move on to our bonus segment. And in our bonus segment today, we're talking about the business that is the Super Bowl and other major finals, like the Rugby World Cup or you know, the Premier League or, you know, things like that, Champions League. Like, and what sort of business it brings like to the areas you know, that played in. I mean, obviously you have got this big boom that is tourism. I mean, people coming in, people spending, you create jobs. You've got even the locals spending what they would have spent maybe traveling to another you know, country or city or whatever to watch that final. Like the business is just over the moon for you know, times like these.
It's I'm laughing because of how we failed to capitalize on these things in Kenya. I think about the Super Bowl, and I think we've discussed about this a lot, so I won't really delve into the Super Bowl. But I think about things like the Champions League final. You know, maybe a year or 2 years before where the final is going to be held. I was in my other job. I have some relations with some people in Kiev, Ukraine. And I remember they were telling me how much they were going to be renting their apartments out for people who were traveling to Kiev to watch the Champions League final last year. Like you said, the business is around Kiev. Now, in this particular case, let's think about it. You can imagine the boom that we're going to be seeing even for the local businesses. And by the way, it's like for a month, 2 months before, because that's when you start seeing a lot of action happening. I think about how these guys actually conduct those finals. The Super Bowl, the biggest thing about, or one of the biggest things about the Super Bowl is a halftime show.
Yep.
If you go to Champions League, it's normally the opening ceremony.
Yep.
If you go to FIFA World Cup, the finals last year in Moscow, it was the opening ceremony in which Will Smith performed. If you go to Rugby World Cup, it's the same thing.
Yep.
It's the opening ceremony. There's always an act before the game itself. So you have very many guys who might not. Okay, they're going for the fanfare.
Yep.
And they're going, oh, okay, it's final, but they want to see this artist.
Yeah, they've got to see that performance.
Yes.
I mean, and if, like, say, Will Smith is performing in Uganda,
yes,
why am I not going?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if I don't watch rugby. I will still go for that.
You will go. So I think that's what some of our federations. It's unfortunate. The guys who are running sports in Kenya are old timers. They're very old school guys, and majority of them, I'm sorry, are there because of their own needs or what their own personal gain. And they really can't see this thing from a business. And also the thing we keep on talking about is sports being looked at like a pastime, because I'd expect that to happen in the Kenya Cup finals. Make it a fun fair, so that guys are there from like midday. I was talking to our director, and he was telling me about how, for example, in the Super Bowl they have things called tailgate parties. And Damima, this is a bash. Guys come with their booze, guys come with their grills and everything, and guys just either you come with your TV, you pay money actually to get into around that area just to watch. I think about the fan zones when you go for Rugby World Cup, when you go for Football World Cup, and the amount of money that's being made in this area. So it's something that can be done in Kenya, and especially in the rugby circle, because rugby has already been associated with fun.
Yeah,
so
let's call it fun.
I think, can you imagine a party happening like from midday during the Kenya Cup finals? The amount of money, the amount of revenue, even for the BM, distributors, even for the manufacturers. If you have E.P.L, can you imagine the amount of money you can be able to make? So we just need forward thinking guys. That's all we need.
So that's all we have time for this week. But guys, this forward thinking, do we agree? What do you guys think? Give us your ideas. Remember, you can find us on social media. That is by following us on Instagram, liking our page on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm Jimmy Duffield.
And I'm Ngoro Kamwe.
Forward thinking. Forward thinking. Forward thinking.
Yep.